Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Australian jazz pianist Tal Cohen. He was born in Israel and grew up in Australia. He began performing nationally in 2010 with his involvement in the successful Australian tour of a quartet that he was involved with. During the same year, he also performed with New York saxophonist George Garzone. Yellow Sticker was Tal's first album as a leader in 2011, and these days he is on the heels of 2017's albums Gentle Giants, and it's a good one. He's a busy, talented, and a very cool cat. He spoke with us from Australia on tour and had a great many things to discuss. So get to know him and dig this interview, my friends. Thank you. It's been a long time coming, but thanks for taking a minute out for me.
No. Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate it.
So let's go ahead and start off here and talk about your latest album, Gentle Giants. It's a great listen. It was a pleasure to listen to it. There was so much going on. Talk to me about the album, how you feel about it.
I'm really happy with the album. I think it's a really, really cool representation of a moment that happened in the studio, you know. I wrote these tunes during my time in the States. I moved there about 3 years ago. I moved to Miami, and I wrote all these tunes, and I'm really, really happy with how it came out and the spontaneous spirit of how everything happened, and I'm really, really happy with how the guys interpreted my music, and overall I'm very, very happy with it.
So talk to me about, we're going to go to the beginnings of your life here. You grew up in Israel, and born and raised in Israel, and then moved to Australia. Give me kind of an idea of how you got into jazz and your kind of geography of where you went in your life.
Sure. I was born in Israel. I started playing classical music and Jewish folk songs. That's kind of what I grew up on. A lot of the harmonies that I utilize in my music comes from that, really. When I was 15, I moved to Australia. I started studying jazz straight away at WOPA. I wasn't actually that much into jazz. I was just kind of looking for a music school. And I went into the audition and played something. I can't even remember what I did. I don't think it was anything related to jazz. But they must have seen some kind of potential in it. And accepted me to the school. And after that, I really fell in love with jazz in this school, really, you know. And then one day, I was touring a lot in Australia. I was doing shows of Joe Lovano when he came, and Greg Osby, and Ari Honig, Robert Hels, a lot of big names that came through. And one day I woke up, and there was an email from the University of Miami, and it said, "We've heard about you. We want to pay for all your flights and all your expenses, and we want you to come to Miami, do your master's, and also teach at the university." And it was one of those emails that, totally changes your life. Should I do it? Should I not? And I decided to do it, so now I'm in Miami,
What jazz albums in the beginning really got you going? What musicians got you hooked?
I always loved, when you first start, a lot of the people that start with jazz are really start with funk and things like that. So Herbie Hancock was one of the first guys I heard with Headhunters and more of the funky kind of albums. I also really loved Jimmy Smith, the organ player. The second I heard him, the blues and the feel of it really got to me. Then on, going from there, I really fell in love with Bill Evans, the romanticism in his playing and all that really, really touched me. And then everyone else, Red Garland, Nicoy Tyner, of course, Coltrane, all the greats from there on. But it really did start with, Herbie Hancock, I would say,
Well, let me ask you about your move to the States. You've had a pretty rich history, geography speaking, going from Israel to Australia and to the United States. What was it like to come here and study music? Was it a dream come true?
It's really, really great. To speak a little bit about Australia, the standard here is really, really high. Some of the Australian musicians in the world right now are doing really, really well. Having said that, though, as much as the standard is high here, jazz is from the States. It is happening where it is, and I wouldn't have been able to do this album if I didn't make the connections that I have in the States, So, in a way, it's a step in the right direction to go to the States, you know what I mean? You can only do so much in Australia, It's a very self-contained scene. It's amazing. The music's amazing. but not that many people know about it because Australia is far, you know. So when you move to the States, you really get to associate with those musicians that you grew up listening to, like Greg Osby, you know, which is on my album. I really grew up listening to him, and now he's on my album, you know. Or Robert Harris was also on my album. I used to grow up listening to all these albums of Wynton Marsalis and Bradford and all those albums, and now I get to play with him, you know. That wouldn't have happened if I wasn't at the States, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, one of the big moments for you, too, in the States is you got to play with George Garzone in New York. What kind of experience was that for you?
It was great. I actually played with George in Australia. He's an incredible artist, and it's really. But to speak a little bit about what happened to me in the States, I got to play with Terence Blanchard in the States. I was in Miami for about 2 or 3 months, and he heard me play, and he said, "Hey man, would you like to do a gig with me?" He flew me over to LA to play in the Grammy Museum with his band. It was an amazing experience to play with his band. He's an amazing player. And I also played the New Orleans Jazz Festival with him, which was amazing. The other amazing experience that I've had in the States, among many, to play the Detroit Jazz Festival as the winner of the Barry Harris piano competition. I flew over to Detroit to perform at the festival with Robert Harris and Nate Wynn, and it was so good to play with those guys. Such a great crowd, and the Detroit Jazz Festival was such an amazing thing that I decided to put him on my album. That's how that collaboration started. When I went over to Detroit and had Nate Wynn and Robert Harris play together, and I said I gotta do an album with them. So that's how they're on the album. If you know what I mean.
How do you feel about your career up to this point? You've played with a lot of people. You've been in festivals between the States and Australia. You feel good about what's going on?
I'm in Australia right now, about to embark on one of the biggest tours of my life around Australia, playing the Melbourne Jazz Festival, which is a dream come true to play that festival. So yeah, I'm feeling very fortunate. Also, this whole project started from another competition I won at the Sydney Opera House, and they gave me the funding to do this album when I won the Friedman Fellowship Award. So I got to play the Sydney Opera House, which I don't know how many jazz musicians can say they play that venue. You know, it's a huge venue, and it was just an amazing experience to play in that kind of historic kind of venue. You know, so overall, yeah, I feel like I'm very fortunate to do these things. Having said that, I want a lot more. You know, I want to reach more people. I want to tour more of the world, and I want to progress as a musician and write more music, you know.
You've dedicated your life to jazz, so tell me this. Why do you love jazz?
Well, good question. The second I started kind of playing it, in all honesty, I just can't see anything else for me to do, you know. It's just kind of this drive that just keeps you going, and you just want to do more and more, you know. It's not like a conscious feeling, like a conscious decision when one day you wake up and you're like, I'm going to be a jazz musician. I don't think anyone wakes up in the morning and says that. But once you're in it and you find yourself in the music and you're able to, you know, do CDs and like get some kind of like progress, you're very hungry to get the next thing, you know. It's a very distracting road also, because you often compare yourself to other players and, you know, how successful they are, and, you know, are you doing the right thing? And there's all these common questions with jazz musicians that come up, because there's a lot of musicians out there, and you just gotta find yourself and get close to the music, and hopefully that will guide you the right way. But back to the original question, I think it's just kind of like, you know, an unconscious kind of call that you kind of follow. I don't really know how to explain it. I don't know what else I would do if I wasn't doing it. I suppose that's the answer. You know?
I like that. That's a great way to wrap that answer up. Let me ask you this. Everyone has a version of you, your family, your friends, those that you're going to play live for, and those you played live for. But who do you think you are? When you wake up and face the world, who are you? Who is Tal?
Wow, man, you ask amazing questions.
Thank you.
Tal is trying to be a kind human being. That's what I'm working on. I'm trying to be a good person, trying to put something good into the world via my music, you know. I like my family a lot, you know. I have good family values, I suppose. I hate eggplants for some reason. I just don't like eggplants. I suppose I'm just a guy trying to make some music and put something good into the world. I don't know.
I think you're doing that.
Yeah.
I want to say up front, thank you for the music. Good luck in Australia on this tour and with your future. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to spending you for years to come on the show.
Oh, thank you, man. Thanks so much. I really look forward to it. I hope you enjoy the album.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to yet another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in New York, Kansas City, Australia, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Tal for his time and his music. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.